What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Next Up podcast. I'm your host, Adam Breneman. We're in Norman, Oklahoma, and we got the big get today. Been trying to get this guy on the pod for a long time. Oklahoma quarterback Dillon Gabriel, a guy who I think's got a chance to be a Heisman Trophy contender this season. Going to talk to Dillon about his career, his journey. He's got a remarkable story, his expectations for this season, and so much more. Before we get there, please subscribe, comment, like, share this podcast, hit that freaking subscribe button. Need y'all to run it up and show support and show the love. And also, shout out to the Noun Hotel in Norman, Oklahoma for allowing us to come on their rooftop lounge and shoot this podcast. Great spot. If you're in Norman, stay at the Noun Hotel. It's a great place. Let's go talk to Dillon. Well, I appreciate you doing this, man.
Of course.
I'm glad to have you on. I've been trying to get you on for a while, so I'm excited to talk to you. It's like I think I told you. It's like trying to get Tom Brady on the podcast. I'm trying to get you on.
Not even close. Not even close.
No, but I appreciate it, man. I'm excited to talk to you. We got a lot to talk about, man. I'm excited to dive into your career a little bit and kind of how you got to this point right now and all the success you've had. But how did you feel spring went? I feel like it was pretty good?
Spring was really good. I think just the growth we made and I don't know, just from last season, obviously, not being what anyone wanted, really. Just the growth we made and stuff like that. It's been night and day difference for sure. But most importantly, year two, as you know, like everyone's a lot more comfortable, and I see it more in like the day-to-day things, you know, knowing just when to show up and
where everything is.
That too. Like it's just the small things really that helped us. So.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on the spring game? Like it was pretty. The scoring system was a little interesting there. It was like 84 to 82 or something final score.
I couldn't keep up with the scoring system, but two, it was very interesting. It was really interesting. But I guess it was kind of fun, kind of having that competition aspect.
Yeah.
We did split the teams last year, which was kind of cool, but definitely very different. From what I'm used to.
It was cool to see. I mean, that was one of the best spring game environments I've ever seen. Like, I played at Penn State, good spring game environment. Like, that was pretty sick. It was packed. I mean, not packed, but it was a lot of people there.
There's a lot of people. And it's crazy to even say it, but last year was even crazier.
Was it?
And this year was still crazy. It was a good environment, but last year was super crazy.
Did you get to see Coach Venables' thing pregame he did?
I did not.
It was
but we were
cool.
standing in the tunnel for about 15 minutes.
He was out there for a while. He was out there for a minute. It's funny. We've been interviewing a bunch of guys, and they've all mentioned last Thursday's speech after practice. They said he went on for like an hour or something after practice.
I don't want to say this in any weird way, but with Coach Venables, an after practice speech, like you may be on your knee for 30, 40 minutes.
I love it. He's got a lot of sayings, man. He seems like he's a fun guy to play
He's a great
for.
dude. He's a great dude.
Do you guys have a good relationship?
We do. Coach Venables is like a father figure, you know, away from home, which is just really good for a lot of guys who come from many different backgrounds. So having a guy like him, even for me, you know, a guy who's got a dad in my life, but just having a different, you know, perspective and I don't know, it's just a great feeling. You know, you can talk to him about anything, and it's not normal. I've had 3 different head coaches, had a new, you know, OC every single year, and then a different position coach every year, really.
That's crazy.
Just with my experience with different coaches, you know, he's definitely different and stands out in a good way.
The thing I'm curious about, I was going to start with your high school career, but let's go into this now. Jeff Lebby's offense.
Yep.
Year 2 now, like, what's it like? What were some of the challenges learning it? Obviously, like, how fast-paced it is. Like, just talk to me about that a little bit.
Well, people don't understand, too. I mean, you do. Like, every year, the offense changes a little bit.
Exactly,
And, you know, from UCF to Ole Miss to Oklahoma, it's different, you know, and that's part of the great part about it is he's forever evolving and changing to adapt to, you know, new defenses, new structures. So having that, I mean, it's a blessing, but it's also, you know, there's some growing pains with it. But just year 1, I think we learned the base of it. And Obviously, we struggled in some areas, but year 2, we can kind of dive into the details.
Yeah.
And I think, like, just having that going into spring, it was way better.
Do you like playing fast?
I do. I don't want to sound like Chris Brown, but I like to switch up the tempo. You know what I mean? Like, I think
he's rubbing off.
You know, being able to play fast and take advantage of, you know, defenses that aren't set, I think is important. But I think being able to play at our pace, and most importantly, it's just controlling the game.
Yeah.
You know, on the offense, we set the tempo. I think that's more of the aspect I like.
What are some of the? I think fans don't really realize when you play as fast as you guys play sometimes. What are like the advantages and disadvantages for a quarterback? You know, like do you feel like when you go, if you guys are snapping the ball with 25 seconds on the play clock or whatever, do you feel like you are limited some, like, you know, pre-snap what you're seeing? Like defenses aren't even set sometimes. Like that can help, but can also hurt at some points.
So the advantages, definitely them not being set.
Yeah.
So you get to, you know, chunk yardage or, you know, easy completions, right? Like that for one. I think the second advantage is they're really tired. So, you know, when you get that big chunk play and you're running down the field and you're snapping it right when the ball's set.
Yeah.
I mean, they're running sideline to sideline, so naturally they get tired. But I think a disadvantage maybe you get tired as well, you know, because you're pushing the tempo and O-line, but it helps the pass rush. You know, the pass rush is a lot slower just because those D linemen get tired as well, but then also subs.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more advantages, but I think in situations it's good to slow down. You know, red zone, plus side of the field. You know, being able to get in the right call.
Yeah. What's your relationship like with Coach Lebby? Are you guys tight as can be?
He's my guy, dude. Yeah. You know, it goes back to even recruiting in high school, and just really trusted him and had different schools I was looking at, but just I think it always comes down to trust with the coach that believes in you and you know, sees what you can be, but also, you know, pushes you to be what you know, where you want to get to. And with Coach Lev, I think the best part is I know how much he loves me, but I also know how hard he's going to push me to you know, be my best.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to start with your high school football career in Hawaii, but I had other things that came to my mind first. Let's talk about that. So, I mean, pretty unique, like playing in Hawaii. Talk to me about your high school football career, and then, you know, how you got to the point where you started, you know, getting offers and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I played at Milani High School. I played maybe 5 or 6 games as a freshman in JV, and then Mackenzie Milton, who was a quarterback at UCF, he ends up getting hurt with the shoulder injury, kind of like towards the end of the season, and I end up getting called up or pulled up to varsity, and end up starting, you know, kind of that last game and then the playoffs. But then I end up getting injured as well, so we get into our third quarterback. But ever since then, I started, you know, from that year all the way to my senior year, and just played a bunch of ball, but it was a blast for sure.
What was your recruiting process like? Was it intense at some point? I mean, obviously, like, again, being from where you're from, it's not as like active as being from Florida or something.
It was slow. It was honestly, it was slow, and it didn't ramp up until the last 2 to 3 weeks, which was crazy. But it all timed up because there's a career passing yard thing in Hawaii, and Timmy Chang, Tua Tagovailoa. There's, I mean, a bunch of, you know, guys who've done really well. I ended up beating it, and I think, I can't remember the number, but we ended up, you know, beating that record, or the career yardage, passing yardage, and then I just started getting calls from, you know, Georgia, USC, UW, and then UCF.
Yeah. You ever think about going to Hawaii, staying home?
I did for a little bit.
What was the quarterback that threw for like 60,000 yards, whatever was it?
That was Timmy Chang.
Timmy Chang,
he threw for a bunch of yards. And then Colt Brennan also threw for Colt Brennan threw for a bunch of yards. So, but my dad also went to University of Hawaii.
Yeah.
So, you know, growing up, I was always a fan of, you know, UH, and always went to games. But I think I just wanted to get away. You know, being on the island for a while was was great and a lot of fun. But just wanting to try something new and play some big time football.
You mentioned Mackenzie Milton. What's he doing? I haven't heard that name in a while, man.
Yeah,
What's he doing?
We're really close. He's working on getting back into coaching.
He is cool.
Yep. So, but we talk a bunch, and he's a big part of the reason. Stuff at UCF went down. So
he's a beast.
He is.
He was good, man. Talk to me about choosing UCF. What was you had a bunch of offers. You choose UCF. What was that whole process like?
It was stressful. It was wild. So originally going into my senior season, I was committed to Army. Mm-hmm. So my dad's at University of Hawaii. My dad's head coach was Coach Wagner, but his OC was Paul Johnson, who is the head coach at Georgia Tech. And then his backup quarterback was Coach Kenny Niumatalolo at Navy. And then his grad assistant was Coach Monken, the head coach at Army. That whole kind of triple option connection, just going into season, that's where my recruiting was. I was committed to Army.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you were committed to Army.
Yeah, and then, just things started to happen. And I think as, my senior season went on, like I said, started to get more offers throughout that time. So I ended up decommitting and taking my visits to UCF, Georgia, and USC. Mm-hmm. And
a little different than Army. Yeah.
A little different. And then I took the UCF visit, and it was, I kind of knew I really liked the place. Just it was really similar to home, the weather and all that. And then, of course, the offense was doing really well. So just was a great fit. But at that time, I didn't have, the Georgia and USC offer. Mm-hmm. So didn't end up committing when I ended up going home. But shortly after, I got the calls from Georgia and USC. Took those 2 visits, maybe 2 weeks before signing day. Mm-hmm. And then just, felt it was right that UCF, just having the ability to play right away and, compete for the job. I think that was big for me.
It's got to be tough to take OVs to Georgia and USC and then still pick UCF.
For sure. No,
that had to be tough.
That was the question I think everyone, asked me was, like, why didn't you go to Georgia, USC? But it was just, the big thing for me is, the ability to, or opportunity to even compete for a job and play. Yeah. I knew I wanted to play right away, and, having that opportunity obviously was big.
What visit was more fun, Georgia or SC?
I had a blast on the Georgia visit.
Yeah, I heard they do it right at Georgia.
They do. They kill it. I think what was hard was USC was my last visit, so it was really stressful, and I was spinning in all directions.
We're enjoying it.
And I'm
a lot to think about.
I'm in the hotel room with my mom and dad. I don't know where to go. But it's just luckily it all. God had His plan for me, and I was just happy that I'm following that path.
You ever think about what life would be like if you would have went to Army?
We make jokes. There's a lot of jokes about it, but it's crazy, how I kind of go back to God's plan for me and how weird it is, but it's just crazy how He always leads me to where I need to be at the right time, and I'm grateful for that, because I truly believe my journey so far has been because of Him, and just where I need to be at the right moment. Yeah, no,
you're where you're supposed to be right now, right? In a good spot, man.
I know.
You like Orlando? You had fun there?
I do. I love Orlando. It's a cool spot. I love
Orlando.
It's a great spot. I have a bunch of great friends that I still talk to and I'm really close to, and the weather, you can't beat it. Florida's beautiful, but just all of it. I think it reminded me of home. Yeah. Most importantly because of the, Hawaii, Florida connection.
What was your time at UCF? What would you say is your favorite part of your career there? Favorite game or favorite play or anything that sticks out in your mind?
I think when we played Stanford.
Yeah.
kind of like my first big game and, big win at home. Just a really good day for the offense. Defense played their butt off too, but it was a good time. I enjoyed it, and then also just the memories with the coaches and the teammates that'll never leave me, and something I always will hold to this day.
Yeah. Talk me through your decision-making process then, deciding to leave UCF.
Yeah.
What were those conversations like? Like, how did that come to fruition?
It was tough, because the truth is I love that place, and I think for me the biggest thing was growth and getting better, and kind of set myself in an uncomfortable spot, because sometimes change is good, and it's needed because sometimes you've reached your point or as much as you could grow. And I think when I had the conversation with my mom and dad, it was knowing that I can play at a certain level, and not let myself hold myself back from that opportunity. So I really want to see what where I could take it, and I think once I did enter the portal, it was a true testament to knowing I could play at a certain level, and obviously being here now, it's a beautiful thing, just competing with these guys, and it is different. I will say that.
When you first entered the portal, what was it like? Like, was your phone blowing up right away? Was it what you expected, or did you not get hit up as much as you thought? Like, what was it like?
It's weird because I feel like I was in the beginning of a lot of things. Yeah. Like when I came to college, the portal just started. NIL just started. Conference realignment. I mean, just everything. Yeah. Like, I feel like I was in the middle of all of it. But I don't know if that was the first time of the portal, but I ain't talked to anyone who's been in the portal before then. So I feel like, that was.
You didn't know what to expect. Yeah.
I was kind of the lab rat with that one. But it was a crazy time because, you want to make the right decision. It's a risk you're taking, but just betting on yourself and believing in your ability.
What was that portal process like? You were committed to UCLA, right?
Yep.
You committed to UCLA and then flipped to Oklahoma. Like, give me the story there. Like, what schools were you looking at? How'd that process go down? It probably happened. Yeah. How long was the process? Like, not that long, right? It's pretty quick.
So you can enter the portal right at the end of the season, but recruiting ends maybe 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
So you got to fit your your visits in within a certain amount of time, and I could only fit in 2 visits, and I only visited Ole Miss when Coach Lebby was there, and then UCLA, and obviously Coach Lebby had left to come here to Oklahoma, so I just felt really confident in UCLA at the time, and that was the option at the time. As time transpired, school was about to start, but Coach Lebby, there's opportunity here, and like I said, I go back to trusting your instinct, trusting your heart. I had a good friend of mine that I always talk to, and he's like, you kind of have an idea with your top spots, but there's always going to be a wild card.
Yeah.
And the wild card was Oklahoma, and I remember maybe the day before leaving to UCLA, I get the call, and then, we're kind of set on going to UCLA, but I come back into my mom and dad, in the house, and I'm like, hey, like, Uncle, like Oklahoma Coach Lev called, and I think at that point there, with the whole portal, it's exhausting. It's tough because you want to be right, and I think at a certain point you want to play football, but there's a lot of things you got to navigate to get to that point, and it was a funny 48 hours to that decision, but like I said, the wild card ended up being Oklahoma, and it's felt the best ever since.
So it was the day before you were going to leave for UCLA?
The day before.
So you were packed up, ready to roll?
I was. It's weird, and that's why I go back. Like, it's so weird how it happened because, like, I had my suitcase out and stuff, and I was slowly, because I knew I had a little more time, but I remember just getting a call from Coach Lebby, and he's like, Boomer. And I'm like,
oh boy.
And then, fast forward, we're right here.
Yeah. What was that conversation like with UCLA? Was that tough?
It was. I had a great relationship with them. I know a lot of people on UCLA's team, and a center there. His name's Duke Clemens. We went to middle school together. A guy named Darius Muasau ended up committing to UCLA that he played linebacker at Mililani High School with me. So we played together. And then Titus, he played with me at UCF, ended up transferring to UCLA. So there's a lot of connections and ties that, I knew people at UCLA.
So you go from Hawaii to Florida. We're going to go to LA, and then you end up in Norman, Oklahoma.
I know.
Couldn't be any different, any more different.
So different. But I think that experience in general, like I said, just God put me in the right spot.
Yeah.
Kind of slowing the tempo down, and it's different, but I love it. I've begun to love it.
So then, I'm just fascinated by the situation or the timing of everything. So then, you decide to go to Oklahoma. How fast did you have to get to Oklahoma then? Were you like?
So I committed on the spot.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it. I hadn't.
So you never saw campus, right? You just
trusted. I trusted my instincts. I trusted God's plan and belief in in what He had set out for me, and risky, crazy, right? Like a lot of people did think I was crazy. Even my family, they're like, "You haven't even seen the place," but. I think there's kind of a beauty in it, Just that first conversation I had with Coach BV, I trusted him, and I trust Coach Lebby obviously too. So after I committed, I think that weekend I flew up for my official, but from then I flew back home, got my stuff, and came back.
That's sweet.
Crazy.
Was your family like during that time? Were they stressed out? Were they excited? Like, did they want you to go to Oklahoma? What were they thinking? I know you're close with them.
I think they were stressed out more because, like I said, they just wanted me to make the right decision.
Yeah.
And it's a stressful time because there was a lot of, people don't realize when you do have a lot, it's a lot more options. It's a lot more difficult. Mm-hmm. I was laughing because in high school it was a lot easier, just 2 or 3.
Yeah.
But it got confusing for sure during my time. But they were happy with it. They trusted me, and they're big on letting me make my own decisions and just guiding me and helping me through it. So having them in their support system helped me a lot.
The stressful part, I feel like, for you during that process is nowadays when you're a high school recruit, high school quarterback, it's like, if it doesn't work out at where I pick, like I'll just go to the next spot. Where like you had to get this right.
Yep.
Like you didn't have you could probably transfer again, but like you don't want to. You got
to.
A
lot of people ask why I did leave, right? Like why even leave a spot where you started?
Exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking.
And for me, it's growth. I know there's untapped potential that I still want to be coached up on and grow and know that I can be so much better. So I think that was my biggest thing, is that opportunity to do so, be coached up and be pushed. And I go back to Coach Lebby's, relationship. Like, that's why I love him so much, is like, I know he's going to push me to a point where, I'm going to get better and I'm going to grow. And that's all I want.
Since you've been here, what's it been like being like the guy at a powerhouse like this? Like, it's different than UCF, Yeah,
it's different. I think, there's a spotlight on you and on anyone playing at a high level. But I know what that comes with. I've been doing it all my life. I had to, grow up really quick when I was starting as a freshman in high school, but then as well as a freshman in college. So just growing up quick that way, I think kind of prepared me for that. And then also, at the end of the day, your instincts show up in the most crucial moments, who you are as a person. And I was raised right. And, I'm so blessed to have my mom and dad who, guided me in the right direction. That's why I am the way I am, and that's why I truly believe this. It's easy for me because you know I got my priorities straight.
Was there a moment when you got here where, I mean, I'm sure people knew you around campus at UCF, but like now in Norman, like you go to like the grocery store, like you're gonna get stopped and get pictures and things like that.
Yeah.
Did you notice that right when you got here?
I did. I kind of knew too, because it is a smaller town.
Yeah.
That like I said, there's a spotlight. Everyone loves Oklahoma. Everyone loves Oklahoma football. So it's also a great feeling though, knowing that you got that support. It reminds me of high school. Everyone in your town just being super supportive and loving, and that's a great feeling. But I'd say just at UCF, because it was a bigger city, there's a lot going on. In Norman, Oklahoma, it's Oklahoma football and Oklahoma, sports in general.
You like the town here? You think it's cool? You enjoy it?
I do. I love it. At first, it took me a while to, with time,
so different.
to get adjusted to, snow and weather being cold one day, hot the other. I mean, yesterday it was 43 and now it's beautiful 69, 70.
We were wearing T-shirts yesterday. We thought it was going to be warm.
Right. And now it's
brutal.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's sweet. As far as like the campus itself, what's your favorite spot to hit up on in Norman? You got like a favorite restaurant or anything?
I do. I got a lot.
Yeah.
And I love food. That's for sure. So Charleston's, it's right up yonder. I don't know which way that is, but over there. Charleston's. I love Red Rock. I love their steaks. I love the salmon and the potatoes. And then I love appetizers.
Yeah.
I don't know, there's something about breaking bread and ordering a bunch of appetizers and just...
That's such a power move. When you order like 6 apps for the table. Yeah,
dude,
that's what you're doing.
I'm like, I want,
give me all of it.
It's the best. And then if it's fast, I kind of like the Garage or like breakfast at Neighborhood Jam is the spot.
Let's dive into just your time in Oklahoma so far. I was doing some watching some stuff on last season for just different teams. I was watching Oklahoma stuff. Obviously last season didn't go the way you guys wanted it to. But I thought you played pretty well last season. Like you took care of the football. Like, whenever you're quarterback, like and the team's not doing great, you'll always get flack and get heat. Yeah. That's just in the nature of the beast, right? But like you had personally, I thought, a pretty good season. Like, did you feel that way? Like, obviously the wins that you didn't get the wins you wanted, but
yeah, I think the craziest thing is like there's 5 games, it's 1 possession games.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's 5 plays you want back in each game. That could be the difference.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I think that's kind of what I've took with me from that season. And nobody goes into a season like you go 6 and 7. Like
yeah,
like nobody thought that, nobody pushed for that. No, that wasn't at all. But I would just say with how close we were, you live on the right side of it. The conversation is totally different.
Yeah,
And there's 2 games. I end up being injured and sitting out for, but the 5 games I did play in, there's 1 possession games, and like I said, we got to live on the right side of it. For me, it was an average year, because I know there's so much more that we left on the table. But I think, you take a perspective of that, that there's so much growth that we can make, and I think that it was my focus going into spring, and then going into obviously now summer.
What was the morale like around the team when you guys were kind of struggling there for a little bit? Did you feel like everyone kind of stayed together? Or you feel like it was tough?
It's tough. I've never had a season like that probably in my whole lifetime, and at least playing sports. And it's hard because you build up hope throughout the season, and you win a game and you're building, building off that, and then you lose a close one.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a tough feeling, but the guys stuck together. That was probably the also most difficult part is you got someone you believe in. You got great coaches in the facility. you got great people that want to see us succeed, and it's like when you have that, it's difficult because it's like if it was the other way around, nobody would care, and it's like you know, you're all fending for yourself, but everyone's sticking together and kind of like, you know, riding this thing out together, which was, you know, tough to see.
Does Coach Venables ever get on you? Does he yell at you at all? Like I'm always curious of like the head coach quarterback relationship. You know,
for sure, and I think it's because he's defensive minded, right? So if we're doing good, you know, he's not going to be happy with me. But then if the defense is doing good, he's like also not necessarily going to be happy with us. So lose. It's interesting, but you know, he does a great job of managing it, and you know, being able to, you know, be on both sides of the ball. And for our first time head coach, you know, he's been really good. You know, you wouldn't know that he is a first-time head coach. You know, he's got so much knowledge that he pours into us every single day, and I'm just grateful for that.
What's his favorite one-liner, or your favorite one-liner of his? He's got a lot, right?
He's got a bunch. He's got. So this is the thing about Coach Venables. He's got one-liners. He's got acronyms. He's got poems. He's got stories. There's not one I could say, but I'll say this. It's funny because a lot of the Clemson guys, you know, and
they're all Dabo quotes, right?
Yeah, just learning from Coach, you know, Dabo, and then, you know, kind of, you know, bringing that, you know, to us and his flavor of it. But he's got a bunch. Like if you sit in one team meeting, there's about 15 to 20 that he pours on you.
I love it. Yeah, I need to hear some more of his speeches.
You do.
Take some notes. What's the one part of your game that from last season you were like, I got to get better at this?
I'd say third downs. Yeah. You know, having that mentality of, you know, we look at the numbers, and it wasn't the best unit meeting when we're talking about situational football, but you know, you look at third downs and you just got to be better. But I think it's the mentality. It's the you know, emphasis every single day, you know, when you get in that situation. But it put into perspective for us, and I think, you know, throughout the spring we had a damn good spring with, you know, emphasis on situational football.
Yeah. How the playmakers looking? Like, you feel good about the receiver room and you know, those guys stepping up?
I do. I like where we're at. And you know, we set out a bunch of goals for ourselves, you know, coming into spring, and there's a bunch of playmakers. And some have played a lot, some have, you know, have just touched the surface with what they've been able to do. But I mean, everyone is capable of playing at a high level. And like I said, you know, with Nick, with Andrell, with Jaleel, with Drake, even with the younger guys, you know, Gavin Freeman.
I heard he had a great spring.
He had
the guys were just talking about him
earlier. He had a damn good spring, and just having guys, you know, build that confidence, but then also get pushed, you know, by one another. It's going to be really good as long as we continue, you know, stay on the path we've been.
What are your personal goals for the season?
My
Heisman. You know, I had to say that.
Yeah, and I think that's something. You know, it's weird because I've never, I guess, put that at the forefront of, you know, my goals. Yeah. Because I truly believe in team success will take care of everything it needs to.
I got to tell you, I just shot a video like last week about take the Dillon Gabriel Heisman odds. Yeah. It's coming out next week, so got to warn you for it.
I love it. Well, I would just say, like, I always go back to team success, you know. But my goal is find a way to come out with a W with whatever it takes, and then dominating, like having that mentality, drilling into our guys, like, you know, going behind the O-lineman and just putting a little, you know, emphasis behind that with them. But I think that'll take care of everything. I always say that you win. Winning takes care of every single
Winning cures all, right?
Everything.
Yeah, everyone's happy when you're winning,
right?
What's like? How would you describe your leadership style? Like, are you like you're definitely? I'm just trying to picture like what your style is like as a.
I'd say I like to make people laugh. Yeah, you know, I like to be lighthearted.
I was gonna say you're so laid back and cool.
To be poised and calm in certain situations, but I also like to, you know, they know when I think it's big that when they see that side of me, they feel, comfortable and really, know that, I got their back and they can trust me.
Yeah.
But they also know when I flip that switch that, they know when I'm being for real. And I think that is kind of, cool about my leadership style is, man, we can have our fun. And also in the most crucial times, I'll keep it lighthearted so that they can relax and be super focused in that moment. But when I turn it on and when they see that, that switch, then
don't mess
they
with
also
DG.
know, it's on.
What's your mindset like pregame? Are you like a joking around in the locker room guy, like lighthearted, or are you like music on, like don't talk to me? Like
before the game, I'm not. I'm really locked in.
Yeah.
But during warm-ups, during that time we can interact. I try to keep it, very, chill and calm and, get the guys, just in their right headspace, whatever they need to.
So last season in the Big 12 and then SEC the year after that, like, do you think about that at all? Like the possibility, like if you stay for another year, like to be able to play in the SEC? I know I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here, but that's cool.
I haven't thought that far, but I will say this with conference realignment, it's about to be crazy. And college football it's what it's all about. You look for the big time matchups and, people always talk about, certain schedules or this, but the biggest, games are the ones, people dream of playing them.
Yeah.
So if you can get more of those, why not,
I like it. I mean, I'm excited to see like when SC and UCLA went to the Big Ten, like everyone hated it. I can't wait to see like Penn State, UCLA. Like, that's gonna be a sick game. Like,
There's one thing I did hear, and I will say this: if they did this, it would be the craziest conference. If they got Clemson and Florida State in the SEC, I think every week, every game would be
it'd be wild.
The best environments.
So you have a source on that, or you?
I don't have a source. I wish. I mean, are
we breaking news on the pod?
I just hear people talk, and I'm like, shoot, if they do it, it'd be a good time.
That'd be sweet, man. That'd be sick. Yeah, I mean, last year in the Big 12, like if there's ever a time to win it, right? it's this year.
It is. Is
that what you would define as successful season, like Big 12 championship? Like, what would you say is success at the end of the year?
I will. That's our goal. I mean, every time we walk in the building, that's, put a damn ring on, that's the focus. And I know it's week by week and you got to keep, that focus. But, to say we don't have that goal in mind is,
lie.
be lying. So that's the goal and that's the, what we want to achieve. But it just, takes day by day and, truly pushing one another to be our best.
I want to ask you about this dynamic. I ask a lot of quarterbacks I have on about it because in college football nowadays, there's always a guy coming in behind you, right? And fans always, like I was talking to Sean Clifford at Penn State, and they have like the freshman 5-star behind him, and like the fans always want to see the young guy. It's every starting quarterback deals with it, right? Like the guy behind them, and you have good quarterbacks on the roster behind you. Like, what's that dynamic like? How do you handle that? How do you handle being like a leader for those guys, knowing that like if you mess up, they're gonna want your spot? Like, what's that like for you?
Yeah. I think it's normal.
Everyone deals with it, right?
I'm a, certain body type and a 2-star quarterback, but I'm at this point and it's from, hard work, grind and just focusing on my craft. But the truth is like, that's going to happen. It's the nature of the beast. There's always a guy behind you and there's, there's always competition, regardless. But, the biggest thing is we have a healthy, quarterback room, and I always handle it by just being a great leader as best as I can and trying to help everyone out regardless. And I just take that approach because, I was once in everyone's shoes at certain, stages of my career. So I've had a positive, journey and impact on, my career. So I just try to pay it forward whichever way I can and, focus on what I can control.
I just thought of this. What's the wildest thing a fan's ever slid in your DMs about? Like, I'm sure you get some crazy things. You had to get some last season, like someone who bet on you guys, and just like, do you read that stuff? Do you see it?
I mean, so during the season, I try to just delete the apps. One, because I really don't go on my phone because I just want to focus on, preparation. And I mean, with phones, shoot, if you get on it for a little bit,
you're scrolling.
You're stuck on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Off season, I go on it just so I can, talk with people or, maintain, relationships and stuff. But usually I just text throughout the season. But after season, when I get on and just certain things, like, for me, it's not necessarily the social media side because anyone can say anything on a screen, but it's the in-person interactions that throw me off the most.
Oh, really?
Like I'm walking down the street and car drives by, says some crazy stuff, goes one way, and I'm like, for real? But I keep walking and then another car comes down the other side and says something really similar, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. I got like a 2-in-1, like one this way, one this way. But
what are they saying? Like telling you suck? Like,
I can't. I mean, there was some profanity in it, but it was fun. Like, I always take it very lightheartedly because they're fans of the game and right to their own opinion, so they say what they do. But it's hilarious on my end because it's like you wouldn't believe. I understand the social media side. You can say whatever you want, but the in-person interactions, I give people credit. I'm like, dang.
It takes some balls.
It does take some balls.
And then, they're like the first ones that this year when you're balling, they're going to be like, oh, I love Dillon.
And it's what comes with it. The same people that, prey on your downfall or, are there to throw it in your face when you're not doing so well are the same people, dabbing you up and seeing you right in front of your eyes. So it is crazy.
The spring game was cool because you guys had Kyler was back and Baker and all those guys. Have you been able to develop relationships with any like former OU quarterbacks?
I have. Bake is just a great guy and someone that I've been able to text back and forth with. But most importantly because our GA was his backup and
cool.
Really close with him. So we always, just mess around, send selfies and stuff like that. But Kyler, have obviously been able to, say what's up to him and stuff. But, these guys are busy dudes and I understand it. So just it's a pleasure to, obviously get to meet them most importantly.
Who's the quarterback in the league that you think you kind of like emulate the most or try to style your play? Not that you're styling your play after someone, but that just that you're like compare the most to.
I always get this question but I always like to take a little bit from everyone, whether it's their leadership style, how they move in the pocket, how they extend plays. I know I won't be Lamar Jackson, so but I respect his game and how he plays and what he does, but I think I try to take a little from everyone because I think, everyone's got their, specific thing that they're very, very good at.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's just a surgeon. Aaron Rodgers just being able to place the ball wherever he wants, being super accurate. I think, like I said, going back to just taking a little bit from everyone, that's what I try to do and make it a point to, learn as much as I can.
You feel like you got a little bit of Baker Mayfield in you? Like you guys kind of play with the same edge, same swag. I mean, you probably get that a lot.
I do. I do get that. I think guys with certain, or similar body types.
Always comparisons, right?
So I get, those comparisons. But, I mean, I think you go back to, there's a guy, my dad always used to say is Kellen Moore at Boise State. Because we're lefties, being similar in that sense. But, I'm a big guy on guys who can just move in the pocket and create completions and just dice people up because I think when you can do that whenever you want, it's super dangerous.
You mentioned being a lefty. It's kind of a unique dynamic in college football. And like as a guy who used to coach, like I know how coaches feel about lefties sometimes too.
Yep.
Like a lot of some teams won't take a lefty. Some are like, if we won't even recruit him if he's a lefty. How do you feel about that? And do you think that it impacted your recruitment at all?
I think it did a little bit.
Yeah.
Not a lot, because
I think the whole thing's like ridiculous, by the way. Like I had a lefty quarterback all through high school and college.
I get it because it is unorthodox. It's different.
Yeah.
Or it's not, I guess, normal in some way. But I think this is the craziest thing. So in my recruitment, I had a coach tell me, hey, like, I'm not going to offer you because you're a lefty. Like you're a damn good player, but just not going to do it. But the same coach, when I entered the portal, was recruiting me really hard, and so I was a little thrown off
the whole time.
Yeah, I was kind of like, dude, I remember that exact conversation. Like I don't forget any of that. But yeah, I've definitely had conversations about that and that being different. But I think guys like Tua,
yeah,
of course, watching Michael Vick at a certain point, Kellen Moore, like I said, the lefties. I guess for me, that's kind of who I've been able to watch because the similarities in that sense.
The whole thing of like the ball spinning a different way, like that's ridiculous. Like when I hear receivers say that, have you heard that? Like, oh, it spins the opposite way for a receiver. That's total crap. Like the only thing for coaches is like you do have to flip a lot of the like play action stuff.
Exactly. I think that's probably the hardest part for them. Ball spinning the wrong way, I've heard it. We've made jokes about...
Don't listen to that from your receivers. That's the worst excuse.
We've made jokes about, left-handed footballs, left-handed towels. We've made a bunch of jokes that, a lot of people think are real.
Yeah. That's funny. Let's talk about NIL. Yep. So, like you said, college football has changed more in the last 4 years and it's changed in like 100 years, and you've been like right in the middle of it all. Yep. Portal, NIL. How's NIL been for you, especially at a place like Oklahoma?
It's been really good, and I'm blessed. Shoot, I never complain because I know
you got the bread.
They're doing really good for us and for a lot of the guys. But I think it's big on the way you approach it. I have a big approach on relationships and creating connections. I think. In the past, I remember my freshman year, a lot of people would be afraid to talk to me or, hey, we can't do this because, you're a player and they might. But for me, it's just being able to put myself in a room with a bunch of successful people that have a lot of knowledge. And I think taking that approach has been helpful because, shoot, I'm sitting with you and we wouldn't be able to do this without NIL. But just things like that I'm grateful for. But yeah, ain't no complaints on my end because Oklahoma's been doing it right.
What do you think NIL is a good thing for the game?
I do. I think if people have the right approach to it, but I think the biggest thing is education and also having the right people in your corner. Because I think it's a perfect example of what the NFL already is. With contract talks and free agency, it's very similar. Very similar in that way, but I always go back to if you have the right approach to it and still focus on your career and growing and people who are going to put you in the best position to succeed, then the rest of it will take care of itself.
You dropped the clothing line, didn't you?
I did.
A brand. What's it called again?
DG the Brand.
DG the Brand.
Yep.
You want to plug it a little bit?
Yeah. So
how'd that come about? Why did you do it?
Well, I always loved creating stuff, and I had a bunch of friends that are in the manufacturing business. So I obviously got into it. Thought it's a safe way to start a business and create relationships as well. So we started at UCF, started doing some kind of fan gear and some seasonal drops. This is some Dime Time merch.
Love it.
That we got going, but started there, but kind of now have transitioned in a bunch of different ways with doing the fan gear, seasonal drops, doing something called the yard sale, which we're going to drop soon.
Oh, cool.
It's kind of just dope, streetwear we've been kind of creating.
Can I get one of those? Or
I got you. When you and Brad coming to town, I got you.
I love it.
But and then we're doing partnerships, so just kind of empowering businesses and being able to let them hold their own personal line of, merchandise in a store, and then it being kind of a more creative way of doing it.
Are you very entrepreneurial, like in business minded? Are you always thinking about that stuff, or?
I'd say a little bit.
Yeah.
I think I go back to relationships. You know, like I love, like I said, breaking bread, knowing people's stories, but then also just creating the connection. And shoot, I'm all about a good time, you know. So I like having fun with what I'm doing. I enjoy football, but I also enjoy people and having fun while doing it.
What do you do with your NIL money? You invest any of it? Like, are you just got saving in the bank, or are you spending it all?
I don't spend. I'm not a big spender.
Just on appetizers? That's all you spend on?
Appetizers. You'll see me spending on food, and then my family, you know, whenever I can. But yeah, try to invest in certain ways, and I think that's why it's so, you know, such a beauty, you know, that we have NILs. You get to learn at a young age with, I guess, not necessarily crazy amounts of money. We'll get there at a certain point, but just being able to learn and, you know, have people in your corner that, you know, can set you in the right direction. But that for me has been the biggest thing. I've probably learned the most I've ever learned in college from NIL.
Money. Yeah. When you're done playing, what do you want to do? Are you gonna be coach?
I always make this joke.
Yeah.
But I want to be in Hawaii, a high school coach, and I want to bring kind of like an IMG Academy to Hawaii. So
that would crush.
Because if you think about it, in Hawaii, you know, it not having a lot of, you know, eyes on it, and of course it is now because of, you know, players who have, you know, kind of set that foundation. I think it'd be cool to, you know, get all the best players in Hawaii, you know, travel during the fall, and, you know, create a place where you can play against the best, but you're also playing with the best on the island. Yeah. There's a lot of damn good players out there that, you know, just don't necessarily get, you know, the looks, but kind of creating a team that can travel and play the best teams would be my dream.
No reason that shouldn't be that should be a dominant team.
Right.
Yeah. It should be easy to get kids to go to Hawaii too. You know, just like IMG's got kids coming to Florida just to play there.
Exactly. You know? So that's my $1 million idea. So whoever wants to invest in
it. Well, you just gave it away. Hopefully no one starts it before.
I know. They might. Shoot, I might just join them.
What's the best piece of advice anyone ever told you?
This may be cliche, but keep your circle tight. I think when things start, you know, certain things start to happen and success starts to come, I think a lot of people not necessarily get comfortable, but they are able to relax and feel like, you know, the success is because what everything's, you know, happened in their career, but really it's the people that, you know, guided you in the right direction and have stayed close to you and loved you through the ups and downs. And I think just hearing that, although it's cliche, like, you know, I love my family and I'm a big family guy, and that's something that'll forever stick with me because, you know, they've loved me through the tough times, loved me through the good times, and have always stayed consistent. Yeah. And I always go back to my support system that has kept me, you know, the way I am, and I've always been grateful for that.
Give me your top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL.
Bias?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're top 3.
This can be hilarious.
I'm going to put this clip on social media just so you know. So just think.
My top 3 quarterbacks.
This is going right on TikTok.
Let me think. Can I do top 4?
Okay, yeah.
No particular order?
I prefer an order, but if you don't want to, you don't have to.
Marcus Mariota 1. Tua Tagovailoa 2.
Bro.
Baker Mayfield 3. Kyler Murray 4.
Did you say those just because like they play like you? Is that what?
I honestly, I just put them. I don't know. I guess that's the order, but really, I like those. Those are my top 4.
Yeah.
No particular order. Those are the guys.
Those are your dudes.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was a little bit of a biased top 4.
That's super biased. But if you want, like, maybe just top 3 best players playing the best right now. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, and I'm just saying the QB position, not necessarily team success.
Yeah.
And gosh, I'm forgetting one.
Mahomes.
Oh yeah, why am I forgetting Mahomes? Gosh.
You know what's funny? I've done this with quarterbacks before and asked them for top 3 in the NFL, and all you guys struggle to name top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL. Like Kate Klubnik couldn't name 3 guys. She was like Brady. I couldn't remember.
Well, you forget because there's 32 teams and there's 32
and then
guys.
Like you can't say the wrong thing.
Because then Jalen Hurts. Like I forgot about him.
Highest paid player in NFL history,
dude.
Yeah.
So
wild.
I mean, I like to. There's a group of guys, but anyone who's playing at that level is crazy talented, and obviously gets there for a reason.
What's your morning routine? I think you can find a lot out about a person by their morning routine.
Morning routine. It depends on the day.
Yeah.
But I like to wake up like. Usually we have lift or a meeting, so I usually like to wake up like 45 minutes before. I like to get there early because I like the hot tub, cold tub beforehand, if I can.
Veteran move.
Stretch. So I'll stretch in the locker. There's like a calf stretcher, huge. Then like a hammy stretcher. You like the ones that there's like loops in them.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I usually stretch, and then head right into lift and meetings. But I love oatmeal. My secret oatmeal it's huge, but it's. I learned it from my girlfriend. You put as much oatmeal as you want, then you pour in some water, just maybe like a centimeter above. Put some brown sugar in, and then you heat it up in the microwave, 2 minutes. Once you get it out, mix it up. Then you put your cut strawberries, you cut bananas, peanut butter. Then you get the almond milk, and you just pour a little bit, because then you get like a heavy cream.
Yeah.
And then cinnamon on top. It's the best.
Every day you have that?
Not every day, because then that's like a lot of sugar, I think.
Yeah.
But if like I need a good meal, that and then maybe some eggs and bacon.
You got it down to a science. Sounds like.
Well, I had to because there's a lot of ingredients, you know.
Yeah.
And like people, like I'm a chef sometimes. Like in our household with my girlfriend, like I got breakfast.
How'd you meet your girlfriend?
So my girlfriend and I, we met in 7th grade in middle school, and ever since.
You've been with her since 7th grade?
7th grade.
Wow.
Well, we had some time in between in high school, you know.
Yeah.
We did some long distance, 30 minutes in high school, which was no car distance in high school, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
Is she enjoying the journey? Like has she had fun through the ups and downs, UCF to here and all that stuff?
For sure. And I think just what I love about her is she's just been super supportive, super loving through it, and she understands it, you know, kind of in high school, you know, just having that experience, even though that's very scaled down, just love me for who I am, and she knows me, and I love that about her, and I know her, which is super cool. But then even, you know, the journey throughout UCF and having to do long distance and, you know, the ups and downs of relationships. You know, people don't think about the many aspects, you know, everyone has, let alone, you know, football taking up a lot of time. I just learned a lot throughout that journey as well. How to manage and juggle personal relationships, school, football, you know, leisure, friends, you know, there's a lot that comes with it, but I wouldn't want it any other way.
Last couple of things I got for you. When, let's say in 10 years, when people think Dillon Gabriel, what do you want them to think about?
Just a winner. I love winning, and that's always been my focus. I hate losing. Like I'm a bad loser. You know, like I try to be good to it. You know, I'm respectful and all that, but I hate losing. So whatever it is, I want to be a winner and want to have a winning time throughout my career.
Last thing, what's your why? Why do you do what you do?
Because I love it. I wake up every morning, I love what I do, and I have fun with it. And like, tomorrow's not promised. And I know as long as I have a lot of fun and love what I'm doing, where I'm doing it, who I'm doing it with, like, then I can, hang up my jersey knowing I put all I can into it and had a lot of fun doing it. So that's my why.
I love it, man. Well, it's been fun getting to know you, dude. It's been cool talking to you. I'm all in on my Dillon Gabriel for Heisman odds. I'm placing the bet, so you need to make me some money on that one, man.
I know.
But I'm excited to see you play this year, dude. I'm excited to
see
what you guys put on the field.
Let's go.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro. This is fun.